Black cancer patients were tortured in medical tests that were disguised as research. And the US government paid for all of it. It all starts with one of World War II's most influential byproducts, the atomic bomb. From the Manhattan Project's outset, the US government became curious about nuclear radiation's impact on the human body. It stands to reason that if we're going to create a massive radioactive explosion, maybe we should figure out what it might do to us. In the 1940s, researchers at the Atomic Energy Commission injected rats and later unwitting people with radioactive plutonium. You know, just to see. One of the study's lead scientists, Dr. Joseph Gilbert, was claiming in real time that this might have a little of the Buchenwald touch, referencing the horrific medical experiments conducted at the Nazi concentration camp. This disturbing parallel apparently didn't have much impact because less than a decade later, a Harvard graduate on staff at the University of Cincinnati named Eugene Sanger applied for government funds to continue this research under the title Metabolic Changes in Humans Following Total Body Radiation. Though this title is only a tiny semantic twist away from being a horror film, the US government wanted to know how sustained radiation exposure would affect soldiers in the field. Plus, Sanger had good intentions. He hoped radiation exposure could provide medical relief for cancer patients. A win-win on paper, the tests began in 1960. The University of Cincinnati Hospital referred desperate cancer patients to Sanger, who explained his intentions while leaving out the bit about his partnership with the Department of Defense. Sanger's team also left out the treatment's potential negative outcomes, which left patients only being aware of the upside, which was their lives being saved by this new experimental treatment. From folks ages 9 to 84, each absorbed 300 rads over a few hours. This is like the equivalent of getting 20,000 chest x-rays. It caused nausea, vomiting, and hallucinations. And eventually, for at least a quarter of the participants, death from radiation exposure. But let's back up. These cancer patients referred to the study weren't prominent public figures or other scientists or professionals hoping to rid themselves of cancer. So who were they? About 60% were African Americans from low-income backgrounds. Study notes show the patients had a low educational level with a mean of 4.2 years, a low functioning intelligence quotient with a mean of 84.5, and a strong evidence of cerebral organic deficit. In other words, they recruited uneducated poor people who likely didn't know the questions to ask, or didn't want to ask them out of fear of exclusion from the potentially life-saving study. The tests continued for over a decade, until Senator Ted Kennedy ended it in 1972. The study eventually came into the public eye in the early 1990s amidst investigative reporting on the issue of governmental experimentation on civilians. In a testimony before Congress, Sanger claimed his research was palliative therapy. It was not intended to be curative therapy. His experimentation on unknowing, uneducated, poor, predominantly African American cancer patients did make a significant contribution to science. But so did the Buchenwald concentration camp's torture of innocent men, women, and children. I think we all like to think that here in the US, we hold ourselves to a higher standard in science than Nazi concentration camp. In 1999, a federal judge awarded Sanger's study participants' families a $4 million settlement.
Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel for more of history's weirdness that you won't find in your textbooks. All those textbooks that you had to give back. No one has their textbooks anymore, right? I don't have mine. Anyway, there's this video here, there's this one here, there's more stuff here, there's more good stuff. If you liked it, stick around.